I'm Christina Onnested. Fires continue to burn across southern Europe, but authorities in France, Spain, and Portugal report improved conditions with a respite from severe heat wave conditions that have moved north. More than 1,100 people have died in Europe from a sweltering heat wave. It's caused fires from Spain to Greece, where some 500 firefighters are battling a blaze in Athens. In the United Kingdom, the heat wave is expected to get hotter today after reaching 104.4 degrees Fahrenheit and killing several people. Chris Jones has more.
It's officially the hottest it's ever been in the UK right now. This follows the record for the hottest night ever, which was also recorded in Surrey at 25.8 degrees Celsius. Health experts have warned people to stay indoors where possible and not to make unnecessary journeys. They say the temperature could keep rising, and it's been reported that several people have already died because of the heatwave, including a 14-year-old boy in West London. Chris Jones, London.
The record-breaking temperatures in Britain and sweltering heat wave in Europe, China, and the U.S., which is hitting much of the Midwest and South, is becoming the new normal as the planet heats up, according to an assessment from the World Meteorological Organization, which says several decades of punishing heat waves are now locked in because of fossil fuel emissions that have already occurred. Eileen Alfandary has more.
The Secretary General of the World Meteorological Organization, Petteri Tala, says even if the world is successful in scaling back fossil fuel emissions, the amount of carbon already released into the atmosphere will cause extreme weather for decades to come.
The negative trend in climate will continue at least until 2060s, independent of our success in climate mitigation efforts, and that means that these kind of weather conditions are becoming more common.
The current heat wave already has killed an estimated 1,100 people in Spain and Portugal. A heat wave in Europe killed an estimated 75,000 in 2003 and another 50,000 in 2010. The Environmental Protection Agency estimates about 1,300 people a year die in the U.S. due to excessive heat. Petteri says the world is headed towards 2.5 degrees Celsius of warming, far above the 1.5 Celsius global leaders had agreed should be the limit. Petteri says there are more means available to mitigate the punishing heat and climate-friendly solutions in the energy and transportation sectors. He also advocates a vegetarian diet. I'm Eileen Alfandary, Pacifica Radio.
In the U.S., President Joe Biden will travel to Massachusetts today to promote new efforts to combat climate change, but he'll fall short of declaring a climate emergency that would unlock federal resources to deal with the issue, despite increasing pressure from climate activists and some Democratic lawmakers. The White House says he's not ruled out issuing such a declaration later, which would allow the president to reroute funds to climate efforts without congressional approval. The president is expected to announce other new climate actions when he visits a former coal-fired power plant in Somerset, Massachusetts today that shuttered in 2017 but has since been reborn as a wind power facility. Democrats have called on Biden to invoke the Defense Production Act to spur domestic production of renewable energy products like solar panels. 35 people, including 17 Democratic lawmakers, were arrested protesting for abortion rights at the nation's capital yesterday.
Hands off our bodies! Hands off our bodies!
Among the lawmakers were members of the Squad, including New York Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and California Congress members Oakland Representative Barbara Lee and San Mateo Representative Jackie Speer.
So we're going to have women dying in this country because they can't access the health care that they're entitled to. EMTALA, which is the law that really says that no one should be turned away when they have an emergency, that applies to many of these cases already. Ectopic pregnancies and ones in which there are serious abnormalities or where there is infection.
The protest comes 3 weeks after the Supreme Court overturned the Roe v. Wade decision, ignoring 50 years of legal precedent that gave women rights to abortion access. The House overwhelmingly approved a bill to protect same-sex and interracial marriages Tuesday. The vote comes in response to the Supreme Court decision overturning the Roe v. Wade abortion ruling. Civil rights advocates fear the Supreme Court could next reverse the 2015 decision that legalized same-sex marriage. Here's House Speaker Democrat Nancy Pelosi.
I rise today in strong support for the for the Respect for Marriage Act, bipartisan and bicameral legislation to enshrine into law a fundamental freedom, the right to marry whomever you choose. As radical justices and right-wing politicians continue their assault on our basic rights, Democrats believe that the government has no place between you and the person you love.
The vote for the Respect for Marriage Act was 267 to 157. Nearly 4 dozen Republicans joined Democrats to vote for the legislation codifying same-sex and interracial marriage. But most Republicans voted no. Ohio Republican Jim Jordan, a former Trump administration official, noted some 30 states banned same-sex marriage before the Supreme Court legalized it, and it was within the states' rights to do so, he said. I'm Christina Onnested reporting for Pacifica Radio.